Craft is one of the oldest mobile developers, and by old I mean really old. 13 years old. The first game was launched in 2003 on smartphones, so a lot of experience, a lot of interesting insights. They're more of a publisher right now, so let's talk about the ways how to work with the publisher for you as the developer. Small but dedicated community.
Dedicated, yeah. Hi, my name is Erkhan from Craft, as you understand. Probably you know us as a developer or as a publisher. Anyway, today I want to speak about the relationships between developers and publishers, mostly about teen and major developers and not very big publishers. So how many indies are there? Oh, I will talk for you and with you guys. And I'm involved in such relationships for 5 or 6 years. And it looks like that these relationships are very similar with the relationships between two people who got acquainted, met, and wanting something from each other. So I will try to explain my vision about this topic, the vision from the publisher side, and I will tell how to seduce a publisher, how to force a publisher to do what you want, and of course how to make your publisher happy and give him pleasure. So first of all, let's agree with the starting point, the most important thing in the modern mobile game world. It's not enough just to make a good game nowadays. It was in 2009, 10, 11 when you could just self-release simple arcade on the App Store and got you 200,000-300,000 revenue. Nowadays, the mobile ecosystem is too complicated. There are a lot of different factors and drivers which are too important in our industry, and if you don't think about them, your chances decrease extremely. Exactly the same thing as in the relationships between two people. I bet all of you know very good guys and girls that are single and that can build relationships they really want, and they are not happy, and they even might meet somebody but can't be together for a long time and became single again. So that's why, because relationships is a process which has its own rules and laws, and I will speak about my vision of these laws, my vision which is based on HeroCraft publisher experience. If you speak about HeroCraft as a publisher, I can show some info, general information, and some stats about average project in publishing department. So, using this experience, I have stated 7 tips, and I hope these 7 tips will be useful for fresh indie developers that decided to make a deal with publishers. So, let's start. The first tip. What do I mean? The same thing as in the relationships. You met a girl and wanted something, and your behavior depends on what do you exactly want from her. When we speak about developer-publisher relations, both of you expect some behavior from each other, and these expectations depend on your wishes and desires. So what might a person want from another person or a developer from publisher? Let's make love right here, right now. Don't touch my game, just release it without any changes or preliminaries. Or maybe let's be together just for one night, just work together with one single project or for one platform. Or maybe let's try to make something stable, some kind of long-term cooperation, maybe some integration in publishing system, selling IPs, planning of future releases and sequels. Or maybe make a decision to be together and forever become an in-house of a publisher. So usually we face problems because of the mismatching of our desires. So that's why it's very important for a developer to think what he wants exactly, and to think before he starts communication with the publisher. Of course, publisher can offer a great variety of help and assistance. Publishers can help with this thing and this and that and many other things. So that's why I suggest developers to understand and find their weaknesses and overcome these weaknesses with the help of publishers. But don't forget, of course, don't forget that the more you're asking for, the more obligations appear, and you might be observed more critically, and it takes more time to release your game, so choose wisely. The second tip. So you know what you want from a girl or from publishers. You are good, really good and smart, and you try to pick her up. Your goal is to make a girl understand that you are the right person. So how to achieve this goal? It depends on a girl, and as you understand, girls differ a lot, and different girls prefer different things. But fortunately, publishers are not so complicated as girls are. So that's why I can't tell you what do publishers really want. Your goal is to tell interesting information. No doubt, if you can just send a build or a demo, and if it's good, you will get an answer. But in the first letters, they will ask you for information, so it makes sense to prepare. So, what publishers want to see? And when you show all this information, you look really solid and serious, and you look like a partner who needs attention and respect. You stand out from a crowd, so and you get good chances to continue communication. The next one. So you've prepared well, came to the girl you choose, made a joke, gave a nice present, you were nice, smart, and jolly, and you were totally ignored, or even rejected. You wrote a letter with all the information which was mentioned above, sent builds, and had no answer. What's wrong? What should you do? It's obvious. Get an answer. Every publisher, even not very big publisher, gets dozens of new project proposals every week, and as you understand, it needs time and resources to examine all of them. And besides that, there's always a human factor. People who are responsible for examination of projects could be ill or at vacation, or just simply in a bad mood, or your project just could be lost between departments. And that's why, if you ignore it, send a letter again, asking have they received your letter and what is the deadline for an answer. Of course, don't spam, but keep sending until you get an answer. And if the answer is negative, analyze it. A girl says that she was married. A publisher says that your game didn't fit into publisher's portfolio, so probably there is no sense to make a deal with this girl or publisher. Or a girl says that you were a nice guy, but she was mad about the guys on the black bikes. So you should think about, is it a reason to buy a bike? I mean, to change your game according to the publisher will. Or maybe she said that you just should clean your teeth and shoes first, make your build stable so it hadn't crash every 2 minutes. Analyze Rejection and try to gain profit. Maybe wise criticism will help you to make your game better. Compare answers of different publishers, and if there are any repeating advices, probably these advices are reasonable. Anyway, if you worked on reasons of rejects and fix them, write again. Write again and show yourself as a partner who is interested in relationships, who can understand criticism, who can learn on own mistakes, who's ready to work. Just understand a publisher. We try to find a needle in a gray haystack of clones, trash, boring projects. So help us. Stand out from a crowd, raise your hand, and don't fear rejects. Fear to stay noteless. The next one. It's a good rule and it's a good tip that all rules should be specified before you start working together. And because the vision mismatching about what you do, why, and when, in my opinion, is the reason of a great number of problems and conflicts. You understood why do you need a publisher, you showed yourself well, you were noticed, and now it's time to negotiate. I don't speak about legal process, legal negotiation. Of course, legal negotiation is just another topic. What I want to tell is you should discuss with your producer or another responsible person all aspects concerning of production and promotion, which seem important to you. And I also want to emphasize one thing. Don't rely only on your verbal agreements, whether you use Skype or chat with somebody in a bar or drinking beer. It makes sense to make a follow-up of your discussion, of course in short, because it's priceless sometimes to have a written confirmation of your discussion, for example, 6 months after the discussion. What are these themes which are worth discussing? I wouldn't speak about some detail or specific questions. In general, what I want to say is about the delimitation of responsibilities and duties, some bodies of spheres of influence. For example, a developer is fully responsible for game design, or for art, or for dialogues, and a publisher, producer is able only to make suggestions, but can make decisions. Or vice versa, a publisher promises to help with game design. So specify whether it will be just a game design review by a single professional or a level design team that will create 100 hours of gameplay. The matter of fact is indie developer is a person who considers his game as something own and native, something that couldn't be changed. And for a publisher, it's just another project, another brick in a wall, so it can easily change everything in every project. So let's change a hero that was created 10 years ago, that could be a reason why a developer came into the industry. That's the point where usually insults, disagreements, feuds appear, and all these chaotic spawns could be avoided. Just made an agreement previously. Agree who's responsible for this and that, and which things could not be touched. The next one. And of course, for better negotiations, you should understand some useful things. And I want to mark some general questions or ideas which can improve your negotiation process. First of all, choose your strategy, cooperation or domination. And we use one of the strategies in our everyday life, in our relations with other people. I'm speaking about the way how you build your relations, whether you try to find a way together, decision together, or lead people showing them your direction. We wouldn't argue which way is better if it is your choice, and it's choice which depends on your personality and personality of your partner. And it's great if your preferences are similar, and of course it's not so good if you have opposing desires. And in such a situation, I think it makes sense to compare you and your partner, your size, your value and quality. It would be strange if a fresh developer with his first game would dictate what to do to manage a publisher. Size matters in a way. The bigger your partner is, the more careful you should be. And the same thing is estimation of your value, your divisions are both in one league. Of course, it's sometimes hard to be objective, but at least try to be. If you're 6 and your partner is close to 10, probably only miracle can help you, and vice versa. If your game is great, really great, and it's not opinioned only on your friends, and if your publisher is not a company with the hits in the top charts, probably this publisher will be very tractable. Anyway, we publishers like and appreciate developers that understand their value, no matter how big or small it is. The next one. Now then, we found each other, liked each other, discussed our plans, and it just looked like that almost all is perfect. And it can be so. It can be so if our relationships basis on trust. And I bet you know that there are relationships without trust, but without doubts and suspicions when you're asking for explanations and reports all the time. And you speak about the publisher who just signed a contract with the developer. One of the most unpleasant things among all that could happen is the demanding of explanation of everything. Why did you change an icon in App Store? Why is your new icon better than ours? Or why did you do new features? Or why do you use this advertising net? And so on and so on. All these questions relate to publishers' spheres of responsibility, and we are responsible for these questions, and developers choose publisher to deal with these questions exactly. And now a developer start asking why and why. As you understand, it needs some knowledge to understand these questions. I want to say that it's too late to doubt if you made a choice. If you choose a partner, just trust. It is not a blind fate, of course. If some decisions look suspicious or strange to you, of course, it's reason to pay more attention to such questions. But being doubtful of every occasion is the right way to ruin relationships. And the last, but not the least tip, continuing the topic of trust, keep the promises. It's logical requirement, but if you don't follow this tip, you have good chances to ruin your relationships, career, business, everything. When you give a promise, no matter what a promise, be ready to fulfill it, and don't give promises if you're not sure, because unreliable partner is the reason to break relationships, and unreliable team is the reason to cancel a project, even if this project is cool or expensive, especially if it is expensive. All could be fixed. Deadlines could be shifted, milestones could be changed if we understand what is happening, and if we trust our partner, of course we know that he keeps promises. It's known that it's hard to win the trust, but easy to lose. And I hope you agree with me that honest and adequate partner is what we really all of us need in our life, both in relationships and business. So.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we have around 5 minutes for Q&A. So any questions, guys? Oscar?
I suppose I ought to ask the sort of question, which is, do we still need to have publishers? And I'm actually asking that from an unbiased point of view. I think there are good reasons for wanting publishers, but I don't think it's just because we want money anymore, and I think a lot of the things you're talking about are good reasons. But how many developers still need to reach out to publishers, do you think?
I think that almost all developers, especially small developers, need a publisher, because there are a lot of work besides the production, which a publisher can help with all this great stuff of work, so, especially in the small team.
But increasingly there are other ways of getting those resources, aren't there? And I suppose it depends to a large extent on the skill base of the team. What I'm wondering, this is a debate we had recently in Moscow I was on a panel, we were talking about, I don't know if you were there, we were on a panel, we were talking about the relative roles of publishers. And I think increasingly we're seeing publishers like Gameville and Creative Mobile who are looking at a much more collaborative relationship where they're not taking the traditional publisher role. They're actually more about providing, say, back-end services, customer relationship management. Does that make sense?
Yep, you're right. Yep.
So I wonder whether the kinds of partners we need are actually more complex now.
Yes, of course, as I said before, our industry nowadays is very, very complicated. And there are a lot of different science nowadays which you should understand and can't. You need practice to do the things right, and it's impossible for a small team.
Okay, we have another one.
Thank you, Sean. Very quick note on what you were saying over there. Publishers, quite a lot of these publishers are actually previous game companies who so happen to be successful and thereafter have decided to start investing in smaller indie developers or smaller companies. So it's more to look towards expertise within how they grew rather than looking at revenue or such things as traditional publishers actually might have. That's just from what I've learned. Anyway, my question is, on what kind of development stage would you say it's best to approach a publisher and why?
It depends on the project and it depends which help do you want. If you think that you can deal with the full circle of production, then you can choose a publisher in the later stages, close to the beta or soft launch. But there are a lot of teams which need help in production. So these teams might find a right publisher on the stage of prototype. So it depends on the project and it depends on the team. So.
Okay, so anyone? I guess no. So thanks a lot. It was interesting. It was insightful.